I travel far away, far away, far away, far away for good. Took the winding road of never return. No, I won't let myself again and again and again. No, I won't let myself again and again and again, again and again and again, again and again and again, again and again. I have a musical family. Filipinos in general love to sing, and so we would have family gatherings, and I have two uncles that play guitar, and so I was influenced by my uncle's finger picking, and I just love that so much. There's something so pure about it, and my families would gather around, they'd play Filipino folk songs, and so, but I was always shy growing up. I didn't want to sing. I just let them sing. And so it was like a little secret that that I love to sing. I would just sing, by myself. And it wasn't until open mic at the Owl and Monkey. I didn't know what an open mic was. And I would just happen to be, I live right around the corner. So I just happened to be hanging out there. And it was open mic night, and people were, coming in. Pat Nugent, was there signing up people, and you were there too, weren't you? Were you a regular at the?
I was a regular, yeah.
So I just like, what is this, And I just started listening to people, and I was just so moved. And I've said this before. Of course, I was moved by Patchwork, and a box set, and all these incredible songwriters, but one thing that really stood out to me there was this one guy, I don't know his name, he was a little bit older at the time, and he didn't have the best voice, he didn't play the best guitar, but he sang his heart out, and it just touched me, and I'm like, I want to do that. I felt like I had something to express in that same way. So, I was dating a guy who was a guitar player, and I had another friend who was a guitar player, and I'm like, I want to try this out. So we did the open mics, and they backed me up. And, I played a little bit of guitar, but I was always intimidated because I had small fingers, and I could never play a bar chord at the time. And so we had a little showcase thing, and one of my best friends was like, I didn't know that you did. I've sang at choirs and all that. So that kind of started the whole journey, and then I started doing open mics more, and then I went to the open mic at Hotel Utah. Hal Marcus was the host, and then I became his backup singer, and then from then I joined the Glide Ensemble. I learned about gospel music, and then I was dating this guy who was a blues musician, and then I stumbled upon this book, The Land Where the Blues Began. I started learning about the South, and and so it just I just started listening to more music, and it just kind of grew and grew, and I just started singing more, and it was more about the expression. And then I saw Odetta, I saw Nina Simone live, and in the flesh, and I started listening to more music, Etta James, and Ella Fitzgerald. Really, they were the ones that taught me the vocalisms of things. I got into the blues a lot, and I was heartbroken, and I'm like, I didn't want to do anything, And then I stumbled upon the ukulele. I watched the movie The Jerk, and I'm like, hey, you belong to me. And I'm like, I want to get a ukulele. So I got a soprano uk from the Haight Street music store, which is no longer there. And it was before everyone was into the ook, right? So I just started, I got so into it that I it would sleep next to me. Like I would just play until, like I would fall asleep. And then, gradually I started wanting to find my voice, and I got a tenor uke, Martin, like a 1950s, like I knew the sound I wanted.
Wow.
And from there I started picking up the guitar again. It was a challenging time, not necessarily in a bad way, but it was a life change. Going from home free for 9 years, and just my mindset was, in 2 weeks, where do I need to be, and not necessarily for a gig, but where am I going to stay? And I didn't want to depend on my friends or family. So I was always, the thing that drove me to book shows is like, okay, if it's a house concert, I have a place to stay. I have, with my Marriott credit card, I have one night stay at a Marriott, and just this traveling, and, so I did that for a while. And so my brain is accustomed to like always planning ahead. And then the pandemic hit, the shutdown hit, and I'm like, what am I going to do? I don't want to stay with people, I don't want to depend on them. What am I going to do? And my friend, my friend's brother stayed in this apartment, and she said, there's an opening, and I pushed for you. And so I got this apartment. But for a while, I didn't want to carry, because all my stuff was in my car. I mean, I had stuff in storage, but like everything was in my car. So I wasn't used to buying heavy furniture. So whenever I think I want a couch, it would always be like a furniture that you can pull apart, like easily move. Like even though I knew I was gonna stay here for a while, my mind wasn't ready to sell. I feel differently now. I've lived there almost 5 years. But at the time, it took, I think, at least 2 to 3 years to feel like, okay, I can buy a big table now, or I can, yeah. And so it was a shift in mindset when I was staying with a friend in Memphis, and I was so touched when he said this. He says, you can come anytime. I'll always leave the porch light on. Keep your spirits if a step takes a fall. The long, hard road. Rest for the weary and worn. How long will this shelter hold? Through the storm, through the wind, through the cold, through the heat, and you always find your way. If you need a place to stay, you will leave the porch light on. We will leave, we will leave, we will leave, we will leave, porch light on. When the pandemic hit, just, I don't know how I decided not to just stream songs, but to ask the audience to give me 10 words.
Yeah.
And then I surprised myself, because it usually takes me forever to finish a song.
Mm.
But with this format, I said, I'll write a new song every week. And I don't know why I gave myself that rule. And it wasn't always every week. Sometimes Supernatural took weeks to finish.
Mm.
And I realized that you can do it. You just have to focus, and you can make it happen. Just give me 10 words and let me write a song with those 10 words. It didn't matter even if they were not related, like in Bring On Supernatural, kerfuffle is in there. And I'm like, where did that come from? Or, someone would say, spatula. Somebody gave me the word spatula. I'm like, now you're messing with me. God damn it. But I'm like, bring it on, I'll put it in the song. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So it was a fun and sometimes painful tear inducing challenge.
Yeah.
But it was good. I did it, I think it was during George Floyd. And Jim Pugh gave me the word Weltschmerz. I was on the phone with him like, hey, I need a word. And he's like, Weltschmerz. And I didn't know what Weltschmerz was. And so he's like, it's feeling melancholy about the state of the world. And so, like, what rhymes with Weltschmerz, But, I took the challenge and just, taking the other words, like laundromat was the other word. So I started with, shattered glass from the empty laundromat. So I just kind of formed the song around, the words that people were feeling, and Weltschmerz kind of was the core that I had to start with. For many years we tried and tried. Some perished, but those that did survive kept fighting for someday we will transcend, for to becoming a land of love everywhere. I'm looking through a Weltschmerz tainted window. Well, I think a lot of it is rooted in feeling like being seen, as a Filipina American. I was born in the Philippines. There was a lot of misunderstanding, judgments, towards, I lived, in New Jersey. At that time, there were not a lot of Philippine families. So, I faced a lot of, discrimination, racism, even as a kid. And, relationships I've had, there were some, elements of racism there, with, not necessarily my partner at the time, but their family, painful stuff. And I was always, like, if you only got to know me, I'm not a bad person, and like I wanted to create a project where the lights are off, you don't see the person, but maybe you just listen to them and get to know them through their voices and their hearts. Like, what if we were just spheres of soul and you just feel each other rather than make prejudgments. And Little Village allowed me to kind of make it happen. We got a gig at the Asian Art Museum to present Sugar Pie's songs. And at the Asian Art Museum, the person that was organizing it said, oh, let's have lunch, just to kind of get to know each other. And we just had this conversation, and I said, wouldn't it be nice if there was a concert in the dark? And I don't think that's a new concept, but, just to kind of listen. And she said, oh, well, it is just an idea that I thought someday, those daydream things. And she said, I have an opening in 9 months, in September. The night is yours. And I thought, okay. And then it just kind of organically grew into, connecting our roots to rhythms of the world. And then the first part is in the dark, and we play familiar, unfamiliar sounds, and then we feature a country, and then we pick from the audience's ethnic origins. They fill out a little piece of paper to let us know their ethnic origin, and then playing rhythms from that region, and then the band, improvises, picks up from those audio, and then plays a new piece. The driving force of Color Coded Symphony is how do you touch someone, you know, through music, and how are they part of the space, you know, and the part of it is, where is your ancestry, your ethnic origins? You know, we all come from a place, and like, I see you, how can we see you, and how can we see each other, you know, and how do we face racism? And it's I think it's human nature that we were always going to have judgment towards people. That's our survival tactic, right, as humans. But how do we dial it, you know, down a little bit, so that it's not harmful to others or affect others negatively?
Yeah. Where did that come from? Yeah.
I don't know exactly how it started, but I like the word, I like saying genuine, you know, instead of genuine. There's something about genuine. It's like the play on words. And do you trick your eyes to sparkle? You know, I think those were the two parts that got it started. And my thing of trusting people, you know, the issue of trust. That was the basis of the start of the song. And I like to think I write simple songs, you know, so it's easier to grasp. And the sincerity of, are you genuine? You know, are you sincere? And or are these just scripts that you say to please people? So that's the essence of it. Simple, get the message across, and genuine. Are you genuine? Are you trouble? Are you true? Do you trick your eyes to sparkle every time I look at you? Is my hand the only one you like to hold? Oh, tell me, darling, tell me, are you genuine? Are your words sincere? Does your heart speak when you say sweet things? Or do you read a tailored script? Tell me things I long to hear. Your letters tell me that you want to be mine. So hold me close. Tell me that you're genuine. Are you genuine? Your letters tell me that you want to be mine. So hold me close. Tell me that you're genuine. Please hold me close. Tell me that you're genuine. I met Christina through Yerba Buena Gardens Festival. I played there for a while, and she's so beautifully humble. I had no idea that she had this background in music, performing herself. And so anyway, you know, I play, and then I think she and her bandmate, Genevieve, they play Motown music, and they had a gig, just an acoustic one, with a third singer. I believe it was it Sasha? Anyway, they played at this art gallery, art opening, and they invited me to open. And so I met Genevieve then, also another Filipina, and we're like, beautiful voice. And, I found out Christina had a gorgeous voice as well. And I'm like, oh, we got to sing some maybe Filipino songs together. Genevieve works at Piedmont Gardens. And so they had this senior day of Filipino, what is it called? October is Philippine American History Month. So we got invited to perform, and so Genevieve was like, well, let's sing something. So we sang a song that was in the Back Where I Belong album, Oras Na. And so we learned that, and someone took a video, and Jim saw it from Little Village, and he's like, can we record a full album of it? And like, sure. So we started adding more to the repertoire, and also we started getting gig opportunities, and it just organically grew into this, beautiful sisterhood. We would, rehearse, and we would have dinner before rehearsal, and of course we get to know each other more, and it's this beautiful sisterhood of, there's this unspoken connection of, because of our ancestry and understanding of what we went through, what our family went through, the history, the idea of what a third culture is, and understanding what that means, being of, multiple cultures in various forms. Christina is half Italian, half Filipina. Genevieve is half Mexican, half Filipina. I was born in the Philippines. So those various experiences, is what we call the third culture. And then the more we play out there, the more we sing, the more we connect with the Filipino community, Philam community, and the also different generations. And we would get messages from how much it has impacted them, as far as connecting back to their roots and finding that, it's just so powerful to have that. I'm so grateful, and it all happened organically, and so now we're working on a second album, and it's been really, I'm so grateful. It's the sisters that I never had.
That's awesome.